Before today's video, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest videos. If you want to see a case or topic covered by Paranormally Listed, then go to criminallylisted.com and fill out the questionnaire under the Suggest a Case tab. If you're into podcasts, you should check out our podcast, Criminally Listed Presents Into the Killing. It's about cold cases that were eventually solved. New episodes are released every other week. It's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and anywhere you find your favorite podcasts. If you've ever wondered what it would be like to get a second chance at life, or to know what people would say about you after you passed, then we have the video for you. The three cases that you'll hear about in today's video are of three people who were thought to be dead, only to seemingly come back to life. Let's just say the reports of their deaths were greatly exaggerated. Number 3. Walter Williams. On February 26, 2014, coroner Dexter Howard took the body of 78-year-old Walter Williams to the Porter & Sons Funeral Home in Lexington, Mississippi. The reason he was taken is that around 9 p.m. that night, Williams didn't have a pulse. Since not having a pulse is a major sign of not being alive, there was a pretty safe assumption that Williams' time on Earth had come to an end. The paperwork regarding his death was completed, and he was on his way in a body bag to be embalmed. That's when the bag started moving, and a distinct sound of breathing came from the bag. And just like that, Walter Williams was given a second chance at life. He was very much alive and very much not dead. The coroner, Dexter Howard, claimed it was a miracle. And while they can't be completely certain as to how Williams magically came back to life, there is one fairly unmagical answer. He had a defibrillator implant under his skin on his chest. The coroner, Dexter Howard's theory is that the defibrillator jump-started his heart. Although it sounds like a good possibility, we can never quite know for sure. While some have called it a miracle, some blame Howard as a coroner for declaring him dead in the first place. They lay the blame at his feet because, while he's a coroner, he is not a doctor and does not have a medical degree. In the United States, there are over 1,500 counties in which the coroner is an elected official who is not required to have a medical degree. This has led people to think that Howard just wasn't qualified enough to declare Walter dead. Walter Williams' second shot at life was short-lived. He had about 2 more weeks on Earth to spend with family and friends before he passed away again. But he remained passed away this time. His family saw the whole event as a blessing. His nephew, Eddie Hester, said, "I think he's gone this time," in reference to his second passing. However, he refers to the 2 weeks as a 2-week miracle for me, and I enjoyed every minute of it, and my family did too. It seems that Walter Williams' family really got a sense of meaning of life through this event, and they treasured the precious time they had left as much as possible. Number 2. Janina Kolkiewicz. From Mississippi to Europe, Poland specifically, in the same year as Walter Williams, 2014, but later in that year, November 6 to be exact. A 91-year-old woman named Janina Kolkiewicz, who lived in the small town of Ostro-Lubyskie, was thought to be dead when she stopped breathing, her heart stopped beating, she had no pulse, and she had no movement in her pupils. Her niece called the doctor, who examined her and declared her dead, and then her body was sent to the funeral home to begin the embalming process. Only 11 hours later, the funeral home called her doctor to say that Kolkiewicz was very much alive and had been lying in a body bag in a cold storage room. Her doctor, who declared her dead, Dr. Tush, said, quote, "I was sure she was dead." She went on to say, "I'm stunned. I don't understand what happened. Her heart had stopped beating. She was no longer breathing. If I had my doubts, I would have called an ambulance, done an electrocardiogram, but I was sure that the patient is dead." There's no theory for what exactly happened to Kolkiewicz that day, but there was an investigation into the matter as to why she was left in the cold storage room. The results of that investigation could not be found online. However, Kolkiewicz didn't seem to be fazed by the incident. Apparently, when they opened her body bag, she told them she was cold and would like a cup of tea. A very reasonable response given everything that happened to her. Apart from that, she said she felt fine. It was also reported that she had late-stage dementia, so she was not fully aware of the events that had befallen her. The only problem was that, because she was declared dead, she could not continue to receive her pension. Government officials had to make sure her death declaration was reversed for her to continue receiving it. One would think that coming back from the dead would call for a fancy meal. But when she got home, she had a bowl of soup and 2 pancakes. We hope she enjoyed it. It's unknown what happened to Janina Kolkiewicz after she was resurrected, but if she's still alive today, she'd be 100 years old. Number 1. Fagilyu Mukhametzyanov. Kazan is a city in Russia, and in 2011, it had a population of about 1.1 million people. It was home to 49-year-old Fagilyu Mukhametzyanov and her 51-year-old husband, Fagilyu. In June 2011, Fagilyu had a heart attack and she was pronounced dead. Her body was given to her family and they hosted a funeral. As she lay in her coffin, her friends and family gathered around and started praying for her soul to make it to heaven. Then her eyelids started to flutter and suddenly she started screaming. Her friends and family were stunned and rushed her to the hospital. But it turned out that the shock of discovering that she was at her own funeral caused her to have another heart attack. She died about 12 minutes after she came back to life, meaning she had a fatal heart attack at her own funeral. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. If you did find it interesting, please make sure you subscribe. We'll have a new video about the paranormal every week. If you just discovered this channel, please make sure you check out our other channel, Criminally Listed. We have over 325 videos featuring bizarre but true crime stories. You can find it at youtube.com/criminallylisted. We also have a podcast about cold cases that were eventually solved called Criminally Listed Presents Into the Killing. You can find it on Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music, and anywhere you find great podcasts. But that's all for today. Thanks again for watching.